All right, good morning. Welcome to a tour of CodeHS. This is a learning platform to teach higher level coding to students. Notice right here it says sign up for free. CodeHS is free for educators and for students. You just wouldn't have some grading abilities, but in terms of what you're using it for, that is fine. And when you first enter, you're going to go ahead and just say create a teacher account. And I would sign up with Google using your Marysville School District email. That's probably the easiest way to keep track of everything. Now, the nice thing about CodeHS is that once you sign up, you do have the ability to link it to Google Classroom. So you'll just want to check I'm not a robot, finish your account. Now, obviously, you have just a couple quick marketing questions, so you can take a moment and answer those. And then you'll want to just type in your school. I'll just say Marysville Middle School for mine, but you could obviously choose the school that you were working with. All right, once you have entered your school and all the necessary emails, this is going to be your teacher dashboard right here. Now, you are able to assign courses. So let's say that you would like your kids to do some work with videos and some actual lessons that go along with coding. You would just need to create a new section by tapping on the green button here. And you would name your section first period or fifth grade, or you can import from Google Classroom if you already had that. That's kind of a nice, easy way to set things up. And then it will ask you to choose a course you want to give to those students. Now, because you have upper elementary, there are some middle school. There isn't specific elementary courses, but if you choose middle school here, the two that I've done with sixth graders, fifth and sixth graders before, would be Intro to Programming with Carol the dog and Intro to Python with Tracy. Both of these are very user-friendly. With Tracy, they're drawing using this little turtle, and they're programming using Python to draw. Intro to Programming with Carol the dog is actually giving a series of commands using Java so that you can move a dog around to have him do some tricks. So I'm just going to choose one to assign to students so you can see what that looks like. And then I don't have any students in here, but this is where you would see your students. And then you would get an invite code for them to go ahead and go in and play around with some of those lessons. Now, the one thing that I wanted to show you as well, so once you go ahead and assign that to your students, you'll see that they have a course show up, and then they're able to work through some guided lessons. But I love the sandbox actually. So if you just make one course, even if you never assign it to students, you can have students come in here and go to the sandbox. So I'm just going to call this a test program. You always have to name the program that you're going to be working on. And this is all the different kinds of coding languages that kids can just play around with, actual typing code. We're not using block coding here. But I usually go with Python Turtle first, just because it's very user-friendly, and they get instant gratification at seeing their typed programs come to life. So Python Turtle and create program. Now what this sandbox does is it's going to go ahead and give students a space to code. So notice on the left here, they have the ability to write some code. And then over here, they can see what that code looks like. So there's a forward command, 50 pixels, a left command, 90 turn, and then a forward 50. And that's just there so you can see what it looks like. And then I can hit run. And notice my turtle moved forward 50 pixels, did a left-hand turn at 90 degrees, and then moved forward as well. So the first thing you might have students do is just play around with changing these numbers. They can go ahead and type. They could erase anything on here they wanted, but they can change any of these numbers. And then if they hit run again, they could experiment with how that changes things. So when I first use the sandbox with students, I simply have them come in here and play around with some basic commands. Now, the other fun thing to show students is if you go to the docs section instead of the output, it lists all the different kinds of commands that students can do. And it demonstrates how to do that. So if they see a command they haven't tried, they can just copy paste it by hitting enter. And then they have a new command that they didn't even have to type. There's the ability to draw circles, so they could come over here and then copy a circle command. Everything gets its own line with an enter in between. They can do things like lift their pen, make their pen size bigger. They can rotate. So a lot of times I'll just have students go through here and see what they can find and add it over here, and then they kind of maybe do a share out. But they can change the color of their pen, and it shows them how to do that. So it's a little bit of trial and error, but it's a really fun way for them to kind of see what that would look like. Okay, so notice the code I just wrote was just from me copy and pasting here. So if the students want to save, they just hit the save button. And then if they go back to the sandbox, their program, notice it's green for the turtle. It says what date I did it, and if I want to come back and edit it, I can. So if you're just looking for a place for students to play around with coding, oftentimes I'll draw pictures on the board like a snowman or a house after they've played around with these commands, and we'll just see if we can do like can I code that picture? So even with very little programming, this is actually something I show students before I did any direct instruction or used any of the modules. And we actually played around in the sandbox for almost 2 weeks, so 10 days in a middle school classroom, just seeing what we could draw by looking here in the docs section and just learning by what we saw. Okay, so I hope that's super helpful to get you started. Give me a call or send me an email if you'd like more information. Melissa Dilling, Instructional Technology, Toast at Marysville School District. Thanks so much.